Mistakes aren't bad. Mistakes aren't bad. A couple of weeks ago, I was doing a keynote, a workshop for 75 property professionals in Sydney. And the hour-long talk was half on emotional mastery and half of it was on growth mindset. But the truth is that the two concepts, emotional mastery and growth mindset, go hand in hand. And they feed into each other beautifully. And part of that talk was very interactive, as all of my talks are. And I asked the people in the audience, I asked those property professionals, what's a mistake that you've made? What is a mistake that you have made in your career? And it can be a confronting question to ask because you've got to show a little bit of vulnerability in that. And for a lot of people in the room, it was a struggle to share because I know that every single person in the room has made a mistake, at least one mistake in their career. I know I have made many. And I remember how shocked they were when I shared what an example would be for me. One example for me making a mistake in my career is that there was a woman that I wanted on my podcast. Huge coach. I think she does $1 million a month, and she's really bold and super. I find that she's quite edgy in her messaging online, and I really wanted her on my podcast. And I asked her about a year or two ago, and she said no. And then at the end of last year, 2024, I saw that she was opening up her schedule for podcasts. And so I jumped into her inbox and I asked her, would you come on my podcast called Into the Nothing and talk about money, talk about wealth, because that's such a big part of what she does. She's a business coach and a money mentor. She said, yes, absolutely. So I was so excited. I was thrilled. She's based in Canada. So the call was going to be early in the morning and her schedule was quite full at the time. So we had made it so it was going to be like a month or more, 5 weeks from the date that we were talking. And I was talking with her team. So we booked it in for early January, 7 o'clock in the morning, Australian time, Brisbane time. And it was early in the year and I didn't check my calendar the day before. And I woke up, I think I woke up early, but I didn't check my phone because I don't first thing in the morning. And I noticed that I was late to the call at about 7:20. I felt so bad. And the only thing that I knew how to do in that moment was to be honest. And so I contacted her team and I said, look, I'm so sorry. I feel terrible. I've missed the appointment. It was totally my fault. It's totally my error. Is there an option for us to move this conversation to another day? And I'm so sorry. And they said, yeah, absolutely, not a problem. So that was a mistake that I've made. And when I shared this, when I was doing a keynote a couple of weeks ago down in Sydney, the audience was shocked. And fair enough, it was a mistake. And I've made quite a few mistakes in my career. But it was quite a struggle for the audience to share their mistake because you don't want to show your vulnerability. You don't want to show a weakness or a mistake that you've made in your humanness to your colleagues. You want them to know you are productive and focused and clever and all of that. Sorry, I'm just looking over here. I'm looking after my friend's dog and I was wondering what the dog was doing. And so it was interesting to notice it took a little bit of nurturing for a few of the audience members to share mistakes in their career. And of course, none of them shared any mistakes in their current job for the room that I was in, for the company that I was speaking to. But a few of them had examples of mistakes that they had made in their career prior to working to that company. But the truth is that we all make mistakes. Maybe we've sent an email to the wrong person that was confidential. Maybe we've turned up late to a meeting. Maybe we've sent out a social media post that was really important that had typos in it, or was the wrong post for the wrong day, or who knows what the mistakes are. I have a family member who was visiting his office on a weekend, and when he got to the office, there were people in there that were getting some computers out of the office, and he assumed they were like tech people or part of the company, and he opened up the door to let them out, and what they were actually doing was stealing computers. That's a bit of a funny mistake, but a mistake nonetheless. But we all make them, and they are part of life, and they are part of our careers for sure. Now, we obviously don't want to make them. We don't intend to make mistakes, but they are part of life and a part of putting ourselves out there and going for the things that we want to do and the things that we want to achieve. We're going to have to be a beginner. We're going to have to stumble purposefully forward, as I love to say. But having a growth mindset is knowing that we're going to make mistakes. And if you can imagine that your brain is like a muscle, the more that you use it, the stronger it gets. And a growth mindset means that you believe that you can get better at things if you practice and you keep trying, even when it feels hard. Something that happens in the brain when we do hard things and we persevere and we learn that we can learn a new skill and become good at something that we weren't so good at before. It's like learning to ride a bike, which I know is probably the most obvious example I could give you. At first, you might fall off, the handlebars might hit you in the stomach. I know that happened to me once. I was going really fast. I went around a corner and it got me in the stomach and winded me so bad when I was growing up on a horse stud in Western New South Wales. But if you keep practicing, you'll get better and better. Instead of saying, I can't do this, you say, I can't do this yet. So mistakes aren't bad. They help your brain grow. It's like a muscle. We train it, like going to the gym. We keep showing up repetition after repetition, and we get stronger and we get better at a thing. And knowing that that's what happens is the foundation for a growth mindset. So know that mistakes are part of life and particularly part of your career, and it's okay. And maybe if you have made a mistake, the best thing to do is just to be honest about it, like I did when I didn't turn up to that podcast interview because I didn't check my calendar. It was my error. It was my mistake. So the first thing I did was to tell the truth to that lady and her team. And they were so receptive. They immediately said, yeah. And we did the interview and it was great a couple of weeks after that day. So know that it's part of life. It's okay. We all make mistakes. You're not alone. But it's the mindset of knowing that I'm going to get better at this. I might not be able to do this thing well right now. I might not be able to press live and confidently speak well. But at some point I will if I keep showing up. The difference between someone who's successful and someone who's not is someone who just keeps going. Someone who just keeps learning from their mistakes, who's willing to fail. What even is fail? I think mistakes is a better word, to make mistake over and over and over again. You have such a huge bandwidth in yourself, and your emotional mastery starts to upgrade and up level through that because it has to. Because you're going to feel like you suck and that you've let people down, but you do it enough times, you realize, hey, wait, I didn't die and it wasn't that bad and I'm okay and I get to move forward. And well, I'm actually a fuller, more rounded person because I've had those experiences. So growth mindset, it's fundamental if you want to get to where you want to go, and you will. But just know that mistakes are part of it and they help your brain grow because you have experience, life experience, and that's where all the gold is. And so thank you so much for watching. My name is Patrice. I'm a leadership coach and a high performance coach, and I do a lot of speaking, workshops, keynotes, and I'm also a coach. as I said. So if you have any interest in working with me or booking me and you want me to speak about, for example, growth mindset or emotional mastery, seems to be what I get booked for quite a bit, hit me up, send me a message, drop a comment down below, and we can have a chat. Thanks for watching. Have a beautiful day.